Good evening. Good evening. This is take two of Welcome to Living Light Dark to Dawn Rock Solid, the place where you come to expand your thinking and elevate your way of being. My name is Dawn Shale, transitional wellness counselor and healer, hostess of this podcast, coming to you from YouTube. Have not been here in a very long time. Uh, Definitely was not, I have to say, exactly what I wanted to do, but we go with the flow here, and I didn't wanna make any hasty decisions with, a new platform, and so, given that this, topic is a passion, it's not just even a topic, it's just this content, this transmission, which is what it's going to be, is a massive passion, and it's timely, and I need to just it needs to be put out there, so I am hoping some people join into the studio. Things look like they have changed a bit since I've been here. I did do a few lives from YouTube, maybe 7 or 8 a couple years ago. I wasn't crazy about it. I don't like being on the camera because right now my hair is up. I have a t-shirt on. I don't like, and people might say, well, it doesn't matter what you look like. What's the difference? Is because I just have I'm very relaxed. I'm very chill. I hope you like the moon scene I have here. That is my mouse pad. That's my mouse pad. The cosmic cosmos moon here, the picture of the moon. So that's basically all you're going to be looking at, but the content is most important. That's what matters most. So I do hope people will be joining. I would expect Kerry to be here, and I am hoping that I will see him. I think I'm in the right place. There's a participants section. I mean, it looks like YouTube updated some things since I've last been here, and I do hope that I hope you can hear me. I don't know that yet. I do know that I am live, and until someone comes in to witness that I am being heard properly, I'm not sure if I am live. I am hope so. I mean, I heard, not live. I know I'm live. I don't know if I'm being heard. If the volume is okay, if it's working. Is this thing on? Carrie is here. Carrie Berry, how are you? And there are no sound effects. Let's do this. I do not think there are sound effects here. There are not. You know that that's a bummer, but Spotify does have sound effects. Can you hear me? Oh, thank you. Oh, Carrie, you're the best. So I can be heard. Thank you so much. So I'm clear. He would say it if it wasn't clear. I don't know who else is coming in. I did my best to say I'm going to be in YouTube only. It looks like I am going to be going over migrating to Spotify. Spotify does have sound effects. The issue with that was this: my intro and outro music, there apparently are copyright laws, which I was not aware of. I've done this podcast for 5 years. I've used I've used some other intro and outro music in the beginning, and this particular uh, snippet I have used probably the past 3 years. I never had a problem, and it went over to Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio without a problem, and they were all listed there, and no one ever said anything, and I really wasn't aware of it, so didn't know that I had to really get official permission. So that is why I did not go with Spotify. Believe it or not, it's like, well, what is the difference? What's it matter? It matters to me. It's part of my show. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm working on that as well. You know, the intro and outro music. I just like that, and I also like the sound effects. Um, so nevertheless, and until that happens, here we are with this, and I am going to have to be careful with this as well. If you just saw it, like the video is on, you just can't see me, and that is deliberate, as I already mentioned. Hope you like my little forest and moon scene here, because that's all it's going to be. There is a way to do audio only. It's been a bear trying to figure it out. It really has. And, it's only been a week. It feels like it's been 2 or 3 weeks since I've gone live. And it's an adjustment. It's definitely adjustment coming back over here to YouTube. So without further ado, let's get into let's talk about the weather. I'm coming to you from Hunterdon County as always. I think I already covered this is the place where you come to expand your thinking and elevate your way of being. Roll with the punches here. I'm real. There's no editing. I could easily edit some things out if I wanted to. I don't need to do that. I try to be as real as possible. Um, and so this is just episode May 26th. So welcome to May 26th. It is the last Tuesday of the month. I hope those of you in the United States had a wonderful holiday Memorial Day weekend. We had a rain out here. How was your weather, Carrie? Because oh my God, we just had 4 days of rain. I believe it started Friday. And if it didn't, I can't exactly remember what Friday was for some reason. I know I was out and about. And I think it was cloudy, but I know it definitely rained all day Saturday, Sunday, and yesterday for the most part, just constant rain. So the garden we have, I know I told you about the garden. The garden is growing. It is very exciting, really good news. So let's just share some good news. The garden is growing. I cannot wait. We've got the lettuce is just booming, and the peppers and the cucumbers are starting to crawl up the uh, the wooden. I don't know what you call it, but the wooden. Jill took 2 pallets. She took a pallet. She cut it in half. She made this thing. It's so earthy and farmish looking. It's really neat. So I'll be sharing pictures along the way. But so that's growing. Today, of course, after 4 days of rain, it was a beautiful 80-degree, sunny, clear day, blue sky, gorgeous, gorgeous cloud formations. And so Carrie just said it's 79 and cloudy. Oh, it's cloudy. Okay, 79 is nice. 79 is nice. Cloudy all day is no fun, but I hope you had decent weather over the weekend. Up there, but today was gorgeous, and I could hear it. I could almost feel it in the air. Oh, sure, it rained here in the Northeast all weekend long, and now people go back to work on this beautiful sunny day. So people are out in their cars. People were going out to lunch. People were getting out as much as they could, maybe leaving the office early because it's a bummer. I mean, Memorial Day weekend, I'm pretty sure nationwide, besides the honor and the respect for the veterans, the heroes, the military, and all of that, and what Memorial Day really is also kicking. It usually has been traditionally stated kicks off summer, and they didn't even open the pool until today. They actually opened up the pool, or she started doing it yesterday, but they officially opened up the pool today, and so. And I mean, the Jersey Shore was still crowded. People were hanging out with their umbrella. I mean, the young kids, the umbrellas, walking the boardwalk and all that, and in the rain. When you book and make plans in advance and bookings in advance, what are you going to do? I mean, you just can't not go, and you're not going to get a refund. I mean, it's just all those rules are so strict anymore. But so, beautiful, beautiful day today. We live in the moment. We appreciate what is. And I'm going to do this promotion real quick. See, I'm so used to these are my notes. It's not my notes, but this is what I take notes on. I guess you see my chicken scratch upside down. I have this thing closed as much as it can be without turning my computer off. That would be a tragedy. So I'm gonna have to be careful, but it matters. It really doesn't matter because again, it's the message that I'm speaking that matters the most. Um, we're not going to do the camera. So in any case, so David Medansky, author of Breaking the Chains of Dieting, Stop Dieting, Start Thinning, his most amazing current brand of Jaded Health, and his book Jaded Health and his brand Jaded Health. He is just an amazing human being, gentleman, husband, father, health coach, the whole ball of wax. And if you're looking to feel better, you want internal health, you want to feel better, you want to look better, you want to look brighter, look him up. Go to, I think it's life42hrc.com. Just Google him, David Medansky, Jaded Health. He's in all the social media platforms. He's your guy. You want to read his material. He is living proof, and he works with people for dirt cheap. And I'm just saying, he's not dirt cheap, but he just really serves humanity well with the information. And he has a lot of, we just spoke the other day, and he has a lot of really great information as to helping people look and feel better. And it works. His program works. So, couple of shout outs. Ms. Bet, Sister Golden Hair from Wisconsin. She has been a loyal listener for a couple of years now. She has been around for a long time, and love her dearly. She is a great social media friend. She's a great Facebook friend. We have had some private chat. She's just a doll. She's a real deal, and she listens to the podcast. She always comments when she can, and so we always give her a shout out. New Jersey, of course. I don't know if they're going to find me here on YouTube. Podbean is done. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Miss Deborah, she is our Canadian sister from Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, the northwestern side of Canada. She's become a loyal listener, and she is a doll, and she always comments, and so always a shout out to her. And last but not least, Shell Bell. I have not seen or heard hide nor hair of her. She is our California sister. She has been a loyal listener. I don't know her whereabouts at this moment. I do hope she is okay, and we're just sending out some love and hugs. Hope you're doing well. Right about now, I would be using a sound effect, of which there aren't any. So, yay! Okay. Moving right along. So Podbean, I think I shared this. I'm going to just share it here just for kicks. They closed up their live studio, which means I could have still used Podbean to record my podcast, but I wouldn't have anybody in the live studio. And I don't like that. I mean, Carrie Berry's been around from the beginning, and there's been people that have come and gone, and several Podbean listeners have become social media friends and followers. And I made sure the last episode I did with Podbean, I made it very crystal clear that I was no longer going to be recording there. So hopefully people will find me if they see on the socials, mostly Facebook and Instagram. X, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, because I usually have gone into the Podbean app and then I would map the episode over to X directly from Podbean. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that from here. This, it's not going to become a regular thing. And I know this might look shoddy to you, but again, it's about the content. And so I've written to Podbean several times. The information was kind of confusing because they said on May 18th was going to be the last day, but then they said officially on June 18th, you will no longer be able to use the live studio. So that was like a month apart. And so I had to write to them again. Could you please explain to me what exactly this means? And they just said the live studio is no longer available. And I just can't, sit and talk into the abyss. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and what if Carrie was never here? Like sometimes Carrie can't be around, and like, he's not the only listener. He just comes into the live studio. There have been many people. I mean, that's kind of saddening as well, because from week to week in Podbean, people would just pop in and they'd hang around. I mean, from all over the world. Oh, I'm from India. I'm in the UK right now, or I'm over here, or I'm over there. And they would just stay. They would stay and listen. And then there were a lot of regulars over there. So, it's just good to be able to speak, to be valued for what you have to share, and that people appreciate it. And so anyway, moving right along from all that, what am I talking about? Well, this is a juicy one, and I can't even see it at the top of the screen. There's no top of the screen here. I don't even know. I'm afraid to touch anything. I tried to do a test, but I'm going to be swapping out screens a little bit. I have some content pulled up as my social media post that I'm going to be referring to during this episode. The title of the episode is Triggered Terrain, Heart Without Hooks. Triggered Terrain, Heart Without Hooks. It's a juicy one. I've been really geared up for this. So Carrie, if you would, and that you can hear me, I don't know how much of a delay there is. Can you see the title, and can you see the talking points? Because I did put up talking points. I just can't see them on my end. I do not know how to make that happen. Pop out dashboard. I'm afraid if I push something, it's going to end. I do not want to start over. It's not so easy to start over here on YouTube. So I'm wondering if you can tell me, can you see anything? Is anything besides the moon and the pine trees and the stars and the cosmos? Can you see anything? While there might be a delay, so while he answers, here are some talking points. Triggered terrain, heart without hooks. Intro, why this matters, this digital. Pure truth doesn't judge. And it doesn't matter. Pure truth doesn't judge. soul source and identity. Genuine inquiry is accountability dead. Real sincere connection, peace, and unity moves through wholeness. Spontaneous content as it flows. Um, so he can see them. That's good that you can see. I'm glad that you can. I'm so happy. I wish there was a way for me to see it. I'm just going to pop around here a little bit. Let's see. Top fans. Well, Carrie's a number one fan here. He's the only fan at this moment. Reactions, pop out chat. I don't know what this means. Again, I'm afraid to just poke around too much because I really don't want engage with your audience. Well, that's what we're doing here. So let's close that. I can engage here if I want to, but we don't type. I'm talking. So at least you guys, so as long as you guys can see it. And the thing is when I can't see it, even though I'm in a flow and I shoot from heart space, being able to see it at the top of the screen does jar or, prompt me into what I'm going to be moving into next, because I do want to cover these talking points tonight. But I'm going to be starting with the intro, and so and why this matters. So those two are going to be one and the same. Triggered terrain, heart without hooks. So I did my best to I did it like a 7-minute promo video, which I never do. I never do go that long. I just say hi, good morning Tuesday. I hope you're all doing well, et cetera, et cetera. And then I just sort of maybe share a brief snippet, but I had to share more extensively on this because this is very important. And I mean, I put my heart and passion into everything, my soul into all of this. So it's all important to me, but this is specifically important for the collective. And I hope that all of my episodes they've always been important. I've served the greater good through this and all the people and all that, guiding people to the truth and heart of who they are. As you've heard me say ad nauseum over the course of 5 years. But so this is important because, as I said in the 7-minute video, that this whole shift is we're moving deeper and greater into we are shifting into deeper, greater love. That's what this is all about. The awakening, people are becoming more enlightened, whatever word you want to use. And I want to just emphasize this, is that words are necessary until we get to a point where we're just completely communicating telepathically, where we don't have to speak, which I don't really see that happening anytime soon in my lifetime. Maybe it will in your lifetime, the younger people. If you were in your 20s or 30s even, maybe you will experience that in your lifetime. My lifetime, I don't think so. I think we are the frontliners, the first wavers, the trailblazers of all of this. The ancient souls, the advanced souls, such as myself and thousands, hundreds of thousands others that share what I share the same, along the same lines of awakening and enlightenment and healing, and speaking into the collective's lives about how to become more in tune to your higher self, your real self, your heart body, as I call it. And in that, recently over the past week and a half or 2 weeks or so, and I'm an observer. I pay attention to everything. I've been paying attention to everything since I was a child, and I'm an observant person by nature, a seer, an empath, a mystic, whatever you want to say. And as I was about to say, as I was saying, is we need words. We need to use words to describe things. And what happens is, which is, I think, is part of a manipulative tactic, is we need words to describe things. And for me personally, as well as should be, and I use the word should loosely for you, if people want to call themselves a hairy goat, let them call themselves a hairy goat. I don't care what you call yourself. If someone wants to, if someone is referring to themselves, whatever it might be, their own source of origin, whatever they want to call themselves, and it shouldn't matter to you, and it shouldn't cause such an upheaval and such a triggered annoyance that it causes a person or several people to go out of their way to criticize. Well, why are people calling themselves this? Why are people changing their names? Why do you use this label, this title, this role? What's it to you? Okay, some Jersey girl coming out here. What's it to you? Because if you're doing you and you are really content and sound in your own lane, in your own space, you won't be bothered by what everybody else is doing. And I don't want to jump ahead, but as I'm in this introduction right now, in this introduction space, and I have to look over here real quick. Um, why this all matters is because largely the collective, the world, let's say, I would say most people have not been taught how to live from heart, body, space, have not been taught what heart centered living is, heart connection truly is to God, source, universe, creator. This is not, has nothing to do with religion. And as I've said in all my episodes, this is not a religious show by any means. It's not even a spiritual show, but I do talk about spirituality because we are all hearts, souls, and spirits having a human experience. And so in this expansion to love and all of this, right? The goal, I would say, is if you are on a personal development journey, and I'm speaking to those that are, and speaking to people that are even new at this, focusing on yourself is a real magical place to be. It's a real good magical place to be. Why you're here, how you're supposed to serve in whatever whatever career, whatever profession, whatever gift, talent you might have. And the more that you are focused on this and concentrate on why you're here and to just make that better, to just improve yourself and whatever you're here to do, you have less concern for with what everybody else is doing. And it doesn't mean that you don't care about everybody else. But the thing is, what I'm getting at is in this shift, there's been, and I've noticed this over the past couple of weeks, is there's just been this manipulative narcissistic energy that has been at an all-time warm, fuzzy, deceptive high. And I said here, and I'm reading this now from a social media post, trust and credibility is one, established over time. I've been saying that forever, that trust and credibility is established over time. And two, isn't built or positioned on judging contrast, personal differences, or comparison to how righteous one is. And so I want to share this, is that I do identify myself with being an empath, a mystic, a seer, a prophetic, a highly sensitive person. Like, I fit into all these different categories. And it's not about the category, but it's about being able to explain to you and helping people understand, this is how I function. This is how I feel. This is how I process information. This is my worldview. This is how I show up in the world as a highly sensitive soul, as an empathic soul, as a prophetic soul, as someone who feels deeply into, the lives of others, can see into the lives of others, highly intuitive, hypersensitive, hyper empath, all these different things. And everybody, I've said this too ad nauseum, that everybody's in different phases and stages of this consciousness and this awareness. And what happens a lot of times in everybody's in different paths, waking up and becoming awakened or enlightened is not easy in the beginning. It's not easy whatsoever. And what that basically means is sometimes you hit a roadblock, you encounter a tragedy, a relationship or a marriage ends, you lose a job. There's usually something sort of traumatic that happens. And I use that word traumatic in this context loosely. So something, disappointing happens. And when it brings you to a point of where you feel like you've hit the wall, and you stop in your tracks, like, okay, I'm exhausted. You've had a series of disappointments, a series of things. And that one and final thing just sort of makes you stop in your tracks and you question, I've got to find something else. This is not working anymore. I'm not thrilled about my life. I'm not thrilled about what all this is. And it doesn't mean it doesn't necessarily mean your career, your job, because people experience this, billionaires experience this, millionaires experience this. They have a heck of a lot more money to hide under. But I know very wealthy people that their money, I mean, does not make them happy. It solves a heck of a lot more problems, but it doesn't bring true joy and happiness and peace. And so, in this moment of being stopped in your tracks, where people have either felt enslaved, they have felt suffocated, they have felt like they've not been living the life that they truly want to live. They know that there's more. They know that they just want more, and they want to begin to live life more authentically, more from their heart space. And even though they're not phrasing it like that, that's what in fact is happening. That decision right there always includes healing of some sort, clear, clearing of energy of some sort, because everything is energy, and everything that we do, the subconscious mostly drives our life. We've been driven by a lot of subconscious material until we bring that subconscious material conscious. So when you stop in your tracks and you start to question, well, obviously you've been making decisions based on things that you weren't necessarily so much, quote, aware of. Now you're aware. Now you're awakening, like, okay, I don't want to do this. I want to do something different. And so the clearing of old debris, the clearing of material, the clearing of wounds, the healing of wounds, why this marriage is ending, why the relationship's breaking up, why you're losing the job, why you're changing careers, and all of that includes a healing and a clearing. In this healing, and I'm speaking kind of general in this about this, it's kind of in this healing and clearing process, okay, we use our brains, okay, we do use our mind, but it's the whole point of awakening and coming to that, you know, stopping in your tracks and um realizing that you have felt enslaved, or you felt suffocated, or you have felt unfulfilled or unsatisfied, and you know that there's more. You're going to be dropping down from the brain down into the heart space. And a lot of times what people do is they become stuck in their minds with, because the way that aha moments work and the way that revelation works, it's really coming from within yourself. It's coming from within your heart body, whether you realize that or not. It's coming from your soul space. It's coming from your soul is drawing you awake. We have a soul contract. Our soul came here. We chose to come here, right? To this planet, to this earth, to this human experience. And so now your soul's like, okay, it's time to wake up. Now it's time to really live from your soul. And now it's done. That's the real empowered place to live, by the way. And a whole lot of shaking starts going on. Sometimes all hell actually does break loose, and all things look like they're falling apart when they're actually really falling into place. And let me just tell you something about that little quip. It takes a heck of a long time when things fall apart for things to actually fall into place. It doesn't just happen in a couple of months or even a year or two, depending on what it is. Especially if it's divorce, if it's a career change, that takes a while. Like if you're really changing career, especially midlife, and it doesn't just happen overnight. And there's so many memes and positive things out there and how to manifest abundance. I mean, I think everybody and their brother has written how to manifest abundance. Don't get me started on law of attraction. And it's not that I'm not about law of attraction. I do believe that we do attract things into our life, but that's a whole other animal that I can't really get into right now. And it is active and it is true. But suffice to say that we are creating our life. So we're framing this particular episode in context of we frame and create our life. And so in this journey to expansion, this journey to deeper and greater love, we are healing. I've done episodes on the healing is a lifestyle. Healing isn't just for the broken, wounded, downtrodden underdog. Healing is a lifestyle for absolutely everybody, because we all accrue disappointments, discouragement, you know, breakups, tragic, you know, hopefully not too tragic, but we all encounter adversity on one level or another. And so learning how to cope and heal through it is just it's a lifestyle. And most of humanity has not been adequately taught this from childhood. So, in essence, where we're at in this shift, it's like the whole entire human race, we're all shifting all at once in mid to late adulthood. Those in their 20s and younger, I would say early 30s and younger, have only been shown what the generations that have gone before them has shown them. It's pathology, right? Some souls do come here more awakened than others. So I don't get off track. In this awakening space, the brain is, of course, included in all of this. And so your soul is saying, hey, it's time for you to wake up. It's time to go to the next level, the next phase. And your mind is of course, does understand this. And you understand in your heart and your mind kind of at the same time. And what happens is a lot of people get this, they get mental understanding of what is going on. They get to a certain degree. They get this intellectual understanding. They understand it in the mind. And what happens is there are a bunch of people that really go deep into this, and they want to do the excavating healing work of where they really look into, why am I getting divorced? What brought me here? And they actually come out of blame. They come out of because blame and accusation only gets you so far, and you can be as right as rain, and the person can be wrong as the day is long. And it's really not about right and wrong, and that's a whole other thing. But it's really about asking the right questions, and us asking the right questions as, why am I here? How did I participate in this? What did I contribute to this loss, whether it be the job, the career, the marriage, the relationship, whatever it might be, that's brought you to this fork in the road, this crossroads, this soul awakening in this particular, whatever area that is. Awakening doesn't happen. It's a lifestyle as well. Like it's a journey of being open to constant expansion, awareness, and understanding, and perception. And so, but what happens is, there are a lot of people that do the excavating heart work. They want to understand why. I mean, this is how my journey started many years ago. Like why, I know how my parents were. I knew that much. I know why I, like at 19, felt like I had to run away from home instead of tell my mother, like, I'm leaving. And you've heard me talk about this over the course of, all these years. And so I had some understanding with some things, but I really needed to get to the subconscious material and the debris beneath the surface, as how can I change this? I don't want to repeat what my parents did. I don't want to keep having, broken relationships. I don't want to, I want to live a successful, fulfilling, satisfying life. How? You ask, how can I do this? First you ask, well, why haven't I? And then you ask, well, how? And you wait for the answer, and you seek out maybe healers, coaches, counselors, therapists to get there, guides such as myself. I work with people in these ways. Other people, however, they stay in their head. They stay in their mind, because at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the day, we all have material. We all have debris. We all have material. And healing and clearing of energy happens in stages and phases, right? And depending on it, everybody's different, depending on your soul contract, depending on how you were raised, depending on if your parents were together or divorced, depending on if you had an abusive parent, depending on maybe your parents weren't abusive, maybe everybody's situation is different. It's family, it's family pathology, it's location, it's geographical area, it's everything has its culture. It's religious background. Not everybody has a Christian background. Some people have there's a ton of religions all over the world. So all these little things have everything to do with what fashioned, formed, and shaped your belief system and what you are currently living out. The unraveling of all of this doesn't happen overnight or a year or two. And so since we all have debris, and a lot of people do get on that, they get on, how do I say? they do go inward. They go inward and they ask those questions, and they do dive into the depth of the healing journey. And then sometimes people stop prematurely. They feel that they've had enough. They've maybe had enough tears. They kind of don't want to see this all the way through. Sometimes people just get the mental understanding and they understand it, but then they haven't embodied it. And they haven't, done the all the way through to the breakthrough end. And so the their understanding is there, but the behavior doesn't change because they haven't seen the work all the way through. So there's a ton of people in the spiritual space, spiritualism as I call it. And whatever, I'm going to say this, there's never any shame or judgment in what I talk about here. I talk from an observer, as someone who has done a lot of this deep excavating work. And trust me, I call it snots in the rug. You've heard me say that before. Just crying it out. And there's no shame in any of this. There's no shame, and we all have to cry it out. That's mostly how a lot of the deep stuff is removed. And then when you get to a place where you've done, okay, the parental work, let me say this is the toughest of all. Parental healing. It's tough. It's really tough. And a lot of people become spiritual. They move to spiritual places. They go to Mount Shasta, they go to Sedona, they go to Asheville, North Carolina. They look for what is I'm leaving, I'm getting divorced. I want to find a place that I can feel safe, that I can cultivate this new reality, that I can live a new life and live for my soul. And so they look for these soul shining places. And Asheville, North Carolina is absolutely magical. It absolutely is. It's just amazing. I've been there. I think it was 4 days there, and it's like I didn't want to leave. Sydney, Australia, another amazing high vibing place, high frequency. I've not been to Mount Shasta. I've heard enough of it. Everybody wants to live in Mount Shasta. Everybody wants to go there for a retreat. They want to just go because it's just so. There's ley line. There's it's just an amazing environment and atmosphere, and you just feel close to God and universe there. It's just an amazing experience. Same thing with Sedona, Red Rocks. It's just there was just a meeting there of a group of people that I absolutely respect and honor tremendously, and they had just an incredible, speechless time. I wish I could have been there. The thing that with all of this is that they're good. It's good to visit and to take part in this until it becomes your crutch, until it becomes a dependence that you can't live anywhere else but this place because you're dependent on, because it's still a sort of an outward, even though it's an inward experience. There was someone, there was a person, or two people actually. One person left, could not seem to function. And here's the thing is that when you reach a place where you're really healing, I have to see something here because I know that Carrie's in the live studio. It looks like I've got 3, so it looks like there's 2 people. Is there anybody here besides Carrie? I'm just curious because at the top here I've got 3. I'm just wondering who's here. Let me know, yoo-hoo, if anybody else is here. So first and foremost, with real healing and energy clearing, is that you should be able to live absolutely anywhere and not lose yourself. That doesn't mean you want to move to like the worst, most violent places in the country. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm saying that you find a nice, peaceful place to live. But if it's to the point where you cannot function unless you're near something, it's almost like borderline. It's almost borderline dependence. And so I'm checking something here. So back to the brain thing. Back to I don't want to get too far off. And it's 40 minutes. I have to pay. The clock is at a different place in the screen, the timer. I don't know if there's a limit here. I don't think there's a limit in YouTube. I don't know. Because there's so much I want to get into, and this is kind of a long introduction, sort of. I want to get into this digital. Did we ever think we were going to live this digital? Because that's part of the problem. Where I'm headed with this is manipulation and narcissism, and how come and why it's running it at all time high, and it's really not good, and it's going after in particular the people have done the excavating work, the people that do use certain things to describe themselves, and it's really the light is what it is, because darkness darkness and light will always be in conflict, and it's not because it's the light, it's on the light, it's the darkness will always be going after the light, but the light always wins, if that makes sense. So sometimes people do not drop down into heart space. They get this mental understanding and they stay there and they live in their head, and they stay living in their head, and as a result of that they don't embody this, and so they still have emotional debris and material that they haven't really cleared out. No matter what, no matter what, if you do not heal whatever that is that needs healing, if you do not heal that and clear that, it's going to show up. It's going to show up. There's no way around it. No matter, you can't manage it. It's just going to show up one way or another. That's just how it is. How it shows up, particularly in the spiritualistic space, the spiritualism space. And again, there's no shame or judgment in what I'm saying, because this is my observation and what I've seen. I'm talking from 30 years of experience. 30 years ago, I shared this in my promo video. 1999, I was educated in all of this stuff. And when I say all of this stuff, I was educated in what I'm talking about here. I was educated in control, manipulation, Jezebel, blah, 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 and how it really functions. Before 1999, I knew what I was here to do. I knew that I was going to be, always addressing and kind of going after control and manipulation and all of that kind of, and it's all fear laden, because my heart is for the freedom and liberation of humanity, guiding people to the truth and heart of who they are. And in doing that, I share and talk about things that will open people's eyes so they can identify where the hooks are in their own life, so they can cut it off, so they can become free of it, so they can heal and liberate and free themselves from the different hooks that are, hindering their life, whether it's in family, a marriage, relationships, whatever it is. So this is for serving the soul, as a soul healer. So the more emotional material, because you can understand, let me say this, you can understand spirituality. You can have you can get all the revelation in the world. All the revelation in the world. You can acquire all the revelation and understanding in the world in your head. And we all do this. We all understand it in our minds. And if you find yourself every once in a while, I'll find myself like, why am I doing this? Or why did I say that? Or why this, that, or the other? And when I say, like, I really want to know why. I really want to understand why. And I do get the answer, and then I work on it. Not everybody does this. And so not everybody even questions themselves. They look outward as, why are you doing this? Why did they do this? Why did the wife? Why did the husband? Why did the friend? Why did the social media, this, that, or the other? Why did this, that, or the other? Why are they calling themselves a starseed? Why are they calling themselves a light worker? Why are they calling themselves a Lemurian, a blue ray? Why are they doing this? And it's coming from a judgmental place. And it's coming from, so that's kind of where I'm headed with some of this. Unhealed emotional debris and material, as I said, is will show up. It's going to show up no matter what. There's no way that you can mentally master that. This is not a mentally mastered journey. As my heart book, conscious book, is going to be going to print soon. What a process that has been. Let me tell you, that's been a process. Downside up, heart side out. It's going to be in print soon, and you will know it when it is. I promise. Um, Heart-centered, heart is my passion. It's my whole entire life, and it will be until the next phase of this sojourn. Emotional material debris, until it's healed and cleared, it's going to show up, and a lot of times it shows up. And this is how manipulation and narcissism functions. Okay, this is how it functions. And so, if you are someone who finds yourself in connections or relationships or with people that are difficult, they're manipulative, they seem a little narcissistic. Um, there's a reason for that, and it's driven by the unhealed material and debris all day, every day. That's just how this works. So I want to go back to this post that says, a sure sign of authentic, awakened emotional stability and healthy love is the true acceptance and allowance of the reality where others are. The different phases and stages of awareness, perception, and understanding, no matter what. Each heart, soul, and spirit is having a human experience of which everyone has their own individual story, their own experience, source of origin, and heart-earned remembrance and wisdom that isn't up for collective debate, criticism, or definition. And see, this is what happens, is that when people have not done their own healing work and they really haven't gone deep down into this, the teaching then becomes talking about what everybody else is doing on the outside. The message then becomes talking about what everybody's doing on the outside. The questions then become about what everybody's doing on the outside. The questions stop becoming, why do I feel like this about why do I care what other people think? Why do I care what other people are saying? Why do I care about what people call themselves? And I see all kinds of things. I see all kinds of things over social media all the time. I'm in two groups that have hundreds of thousands of members. And let me tell you, you will see a heck of a lot of stuff go on in social media than you will in the going to the store or going to a party or going out with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife's friend, whatever, out to dinner for a night. You'll see more stuff take place in social media in one sitting. And it is the truth when people are in different places of understanding, because one person will think this is a total insult and another person will think that this is like the pinnacle of enlightenment. And you go, this person feels enlightened by this. This person feels over here completely insulted. And so the mastery of this so-called awakened enlightenment, of where you have dropped down into heart space and where you feel like you've become self-aware, is the ability to accept all of it, to just accept it all. I mean, in the spiritualism space, people can talk a really good talk, and they can use all the tools and all the candles and the crystals and the rituals and the moon and the things and the retrogrades and all of this stuff. And all these things are real. Okay. All this stuff is real. The moon phases, I have my Palo Santo candle. I finally got a hold of that sucker burning right now. I love this thing. I just love it when I'm live on podcasts. I absolutely love it. And these are all tools they add to, and you've heard me say this ad nauseum as well. They add to, but it's not my identity. My identity and my spirituality, my grounding isn't found in this candle. And if I don't have a particular crystal in my pocket, I'm not going to, like, die or lose it for the day, or I'm not going to, oh my God, I'm not protected. I forgot my Jasper heart-shaped crystal. Oh my God, what am I going to do? It's so I know you can have cabinets. People have cabinets filled with crystals and they're still not at peace. Cabinets filled with crystals, cabinets, homes filled with all kinds of ritual tools and everything under the sun that you can buy in stores and shops and things and online, and they're still not really at peace, because your peace has everything to do with the material and the debris that you are willing to remove, to surrender, to let go, to let it flow out of your heart space so you can ground inner peace. So where the manipulation and narcissism is concerned, that I said a minute ago, that the conversation becomes about what's outward when everybody else is doing. So in the social media space, yeah, there's a lot of people that are, I mean, they're talking about, um, there's a, their channel, they're channeling this and they're channeling, the Arcturian, this, that, or the other. They're channeling the Lemurian. They're channeling the all the different galactic tribes. And this might sound strange to some of you listening. To some people, it's very much at home. And to judge either way is the problem. That's the problem. Well, that's weird. I don't understand that. So it is very true that when you judge something, you are being judged back. That energy is coming right back and it's creating a block in your own life. And that's how that works. And I recommend you might want to look that up to understand that further if you perhaps have caught yourself doing this. So star seeds are real. I'm part star seed. It's very real. It's a very real thing. Empath is very real. Being an empath is a very real thing. Um, all these things are absolutely legitimate. And it's one thing to question something. I'm actually, give me 1 second here. It is one thing to question something, to understand, to want to know what it means. Well, what does this really mean? Because I don't understand it. I'm a little confused. Versus really criticizing it from a place of just arrogance and just to be critical and to make fun of. Several years ago, I didn't understand this Arcturian, I didn't understand a lot of these things. I did not understand a lot of this stuff. And I've had my own experiences. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I've had my own experiences, really radical things take place. I could just go on and on about body shivering and vibrating and seeing light flashing and out of the corner of my eye during like the middle of the day. A lot of different lucid dreams and experiences and things. And you have heard me talk about this a little bit. And let me say this about the deep seeking for the people that are the deep seekers, because the soul understands and knows, on a soul level that there's more, and really going after that takes serious bravery and courage to really go after that, because it only means that you're going to become less and less like this world system. You're going to become less of what you used to identify with. You're going to become more and I'm poking around here a little bit on this screen. It's a little frustrating. I'm so not used to this. And so you're going to identify less and less with the life that you used to have as you do that. And it's part of the valley of decision. It's part of the crossroads that if I really go all the way with this and I really take this and just go as deep as I can possibly go, because I know it's possible, people are going to drop out of your life. You're not going to be as understood as you used to be. People are going to think you're strange. They are going to think you're weird. Things, look at it this way. This world is weird, the way this world is. If you really look what's happening now. And so I'm going to move into the digital piece. If we really look at the world and everything that's taking place right now with a war and the economy and all the things, and how we're not being told the truth, and I don't think we're ever going to know the real truth. And I highly recommend that you really just, if you haven't already, that you just get off the whole government stuff. The government is never going to save you, ever, in any. So I need to backtrack a little bit. I want to get into, so I was talking about, because I want to get into the talking points, and I guess they really don't matter. And I'm just going to have to go with the flow here. So in the relational space, if you're experiencing different things, you're seeing different things, you're seeing different behaviors and attitudes and things, it's because the energies that are taking place, you've heard me talk about this, the solar flares and the storms, and we're actually we're approaching another full moon. There have been two full moons. We had a full moon on the 1st, and we're having a full moon on the 31st. So we started May with a full moon. We're ending May with a full moon. I think there was a retrograde in there somewhere. All this matters as it pertains to how we feel. And grounding in the heart space is the most important thing. And that it's like I say that all the time. And it's people, there are people that do really understand this and they have the tools to do this. Grounding, stillness, silence, solitude, prayer, meditation, whatever that is. And other people are like, how can I ground? I'm a nervous wreck. I'm upset. I don't quite understand all of this. And I try to do my best to speak to it's difficult to speak to everybody from new all the way up to veteran. Like it's kind of hard. And I've used those terms loosely. But so what we're seeing as the darkness kind of manifests, and it manifests, the most frustrating piece is when it manifests through quote spiritual people that claim to be teachers, people that are teaching, people that are writing, people that are putting content out there, and they're doing so from a critical judgmental space. And maybe they don't realize it, but there comes a point where people know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're saying, they know exactly what they're doing. Pure truth doesn't judge, and that's one of the talking points here. Pure truth does not judge. Well, who's pure in truth? I have to read this too now. I need to read this because I posted this, I think, the day after. Real authentic light guides others to the heart and truth of who they are every day, all day, every time. Period. Period. There's no interest in doing anything else, of tearing down. And if you don't understand, like, what the heck a Palladian is, an Octurian is, a starseed, an empath, instead of making fun of it, and going after it, because let me tell you, you're messing with you're messing with something you don't want to mess with the people that are real in this realm, the multidimensional. You're messing with a multidimensional space that's only going to come back and bite you in the ass. And it will. Because the light's going to win. And the light workers and the star seeds and the empaths that are here that have given up everything to pursue their heart, soul, journ, full on heart, fired up, on turbo, that are anchoring the light on this earth, that are putting light and love out into the space from a sincere, genuine place to serve and help humanity heal. Don't go after those people. I recommend you don't go after those people. It's not a good place to be. It's just not a good place to be. And I'm not saying this in a threatening way, but I'm saying that there's a whole, there's a whole load of karma that's gonna come around, of a lesson that's gonna come around with this. And I wrote something here about this yesterday as well. And I'm trying to find that. I also talked about not dwelling or overemphasizing on what was horrendous or tragic, but in ways that keep people trapped. So I don't want to, let me get a handle. It's this whole YouTube thing is what's throwing me off. I'm just being honest. It's like a little bit out of my element because I'm used to a certain flow and going to certain things. And I appreciate your patience. So I said here, like many empaths, mystics, seers, starseeds, lightworkers, prophetics, HSPs, and more, which is to describe, not label or define. We're not supposed to police or judge, are we? And then I said this: with such life work, mandates, and callings comes the most rewarding feeling of witnessing others' healings, clarity, and breakthroughs. Also, observing debris and material triggered or disturbed and manipulation activated, which can't be backpedaled. It comes with the territory and is something these must develop and master a thick skin marinated in understanding and wisdom. We've been doing this for eons and will be doing it infinitely until. What did I mean by this? The unhealed material and debris that people want to teach, they want to be seen, they want to be heard. They come across warm and fuzzy and softy-tofty and all this stuff. And it seems well intended on the surface. But as soon as criticism and judgment, and you could accuse me of that, actually. I'm coming from an observational space because my heart, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, is for unity and harmony. And this is part of what the empaths and mystic seers and all these different um, spaces that many souls are functioning from are speaking on this to get to a place of said harmony and unity. The criticism and the judgment on these, there's a difference between questioning, wanting to understand something. I said this a few minutes ago. Really questioning to want to understand something versus coming right out and making fun of it. Because if you really want to understand, you're just going to simply ask the question. You're just simply going to say, help me understand what this is, because I really don't know. And I'm curious. I haven't experienced this. Can you help me understand what that is? Learning, healing, and clearing energy in general comes with a sincerity and a question of really wanting to learn and understand what's going on, not judging and criticizing. And what a lot of people, and I'm speaking generally, not from a judge shaming space, and I'm going to probably repeat that a few times. They get this mental understanding and they have a few, they get some knowledge under their belt. And now all of a sudden they're haute couture, awakened, enlightened soul that now we're going to go question, we're going to call everything on the carpet. We're going to say, well, this is weird. And I'm using the word weird, and I'm being careful of the words that I'm using, because I have done podcasts like this before and I've caught a lot of flack for it. And, it comes with the territory. Empaths, mystics, seers, starseeds, lightworkers, prophetics, HSPs, heart warriors cannot stand manipulation and narcissism, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. It's being called on the carpet. It has to stop, because you're not healing anything, you're not fixing anything, you're not improving anything, you're not helping anything thrive, you're not helping anything grow, and you're putting dense energy into the space is what you're actually doing, from an arrogant space. And this is what happens with a lot of people. They get this understanding, they get this mental understanding in it, and they suddenly become arrogant, like they've arrived. And so now they're going to start judging the Palladians and the Arcturians. Look that up if you want to know what that means, because it is a real thing. And look it up and find out what it means, and then you'll understand why this means something. So yes, I'm moving around right now. I'm actually moving around. I had to take care of something. So, you know what I actually did? I'm going to tell you what I did. There was a spider, and I scooped it up and I put him out the window. That's what I just did. So that's what I do. That's how I roll. This kind of narcissistic and this manipulative stuff needs to stop. And what I've seen also too in the spiritualism space is, now I'm going to read this. So all of the credible writers, speakers, and leaders that have been an influence on my life, and I'm speaking about myself now, over the past 30 years, have always taught and embodied the same. They've shared their war stories with honesty, but through a lens and relational dynamic that ultimately leads people toward their light, peace, healing, and wholeness. Not dwelling on nor overemphasizing what was horrendous or tragic in ways that keep people trapped in frustration, resentment, or anger, but guiding them into deeper emotional and spiritual insight, present awareness, and the ability to genuinely move forward and thrive. That is my heart as well. That's what I surrounded myself with. I was involved in the church for a lot of years. Religion will do a number on you if you're not careful. Any religion will. And I'm not coming against anybody who is religious. And if you are, and it works for you, and it brings you into deeper love and peace, I am thrilled for you. And I mean that. I absolutely mean that. Anything that is leading people into deeper love and peace and contentment, that's my goal. And I'm happy for you if you have found that. And it's not for me to decide. It's not for anybody to decide. But what happens is people take on this role of of I now need to confront every single thing because I have awakened or I have become enlightened. And now I need to confront every single thing because I don't either, number one, understand it, or number two, I think that I know better for your life than you do. It's a big mistake. A lot of leaders have made this mistake. You have a genuine heart to lead, but you're kind of falling a little short with this arrogance stuff and perhaps your own unhealed material and debris that you still have yet to do that is getting in the way. I've seen it happen with a ton of leaders. I mean, I have a story where, my goodness, this goes back a lot of years. This man was absolutely brilliant in what he taught. He was absolutely brilliant in what he taught. He wrote books like he wrote a paragraph. He could have a book written in like he's just an incredibly intelligent guy. I think he got his PhD, I think. How he treated people, whole other story. He had such knowledge and such insight and such revelation. And people have insight and understanding and revelation. How that translates into treating people, it means more than the revelation itself. He had an issue with just how he treated people, and he just really sometimes didn't know how to respect people and didn't know how to really honor where people were. And he criticized things to the day is long, and he criticized people as the day is long, and it was really unfortunate. There are things that this man taught that come to me to this day. I think yesterday I thought something that he said, and wisdom, a lot of wisdom, and you can have a lot of wisdom. But if it's not embodied and you're not living it and you're not really treating people with it, because I think at the end of the day, the beginning, the middle, the end of the day, a lot of this awakening and all of this experience that we're having and moving into deeper and greater love really has to do with how we are treating each other. And I've said life is people so many times over the course of like 15 years that life is people. My next book is going to be surrounding all of this. It's going to be surrounding conscious and healthy love in the relating space, because I have such a passion for this, and it's, I've already started developing. I mean, my first book isn't even in print yet. I almost feel like it feels weird because I'm already accumulating content for the second book, and this one isn't even in print yet. But I am dedicated to the human heart and to people's healing and wholeness. So we're at 1 hour and 8 minutes. Holy cannoli. So manipulation and narcissism is, so I'm going to just talk about narcissism really quick because there's all these talking points I haven't even gotten into. I already mentioned genuine inquiry, because your genuine inquiry is you really want to understand something and you don't judge it. Because saying like, well, what the heck is this? Is this just, superhero complex? It's like, no, this is not superhero complex. All of these labels mean something to millions of people who have discovered something in their own soul. Soul source and identity I need to talk about too. But so there's so much I want to talk about. The digital space, a lot of that, I never thought we were going to go this digital, where everything is going so digital and data centers are creeping up everywhere. And this is really disheartening. But so we're so darn digital, and a lot of this stuff, a lot of relating does take place in social media. It takes place online. And as a result, accountability has fallen by the wayside, because it's easy to just go on Facebook or Instagram or whatever app you use, start a conversation, get into a disagreement, an argument even, and then it doesn't go well, and you can just block that person out of your life. Poof, they're gone. What happens when there's no accountability? What happens when that kind of thing happens? Nothing changes. Absolutely nothing changes. Real sincere connection is what this life is meant for us to the souls living in having the human experience, and for us to really connect. The life is people. to really connect heart to heart, soul to soul, that's where things happen. Things happen, things are created, healing happens in relationship. Life succeeds in relationship, whether it's clients, patients, customers, friendships, parents, family, brother, sister, marriage. Everything thrives through relationship. And if everything is going so digital, and I blame COVID for this because COVID really took everybody online. It took everybody off the street and off of, the whole social distancing, 6 feet apart, whatever. That's a whole other story. It was a pandemic, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And that's all I have to say about that. I've seen just knockdown, drag out arguments and fights take place just in Facebook alone between people that used to be friends, and they did the whole hearts and loves and emojis and things. And then they had a disagreement. And so now they're having meme wars, or they're having like arguments where this person's fighting this person on their page. This person's doing a rebuttal on their page, and they're acting like fourth graders in the schoolyard. Well, he started it. Well, she started it. And whose fault is it? And all this stuff back and forth. And I want to say this. I subscribe to this, that something does start somewhere. Somebody does say or do something that is not appropriate and that is out of line, and the other person usually tries to defend themselves. And that's how it starts. And then it becomes a back and forth, and both people are blamed for it. I've since the beginning of time until the day I die, I will never ever believe that both people were at fault for an argument. If it continues and it goes back and forth, both people are participating, but it doesn't mean that both people are at fault or to blame, so to speak. But so in this digital world, it's easy for people to click up, to group up, to just have groups and have their cliques. And in the meantime, you have like 3,000 or 4,000 friends on your friend list. You only maybe interact with maybe 40 or 50 of them or 100 of them because they all agree with you. And otherwise, you have no time for everybody else, but you need that friend list to be really super big. It doesn't make any sense because you don't even really know these people. You don't interact with these people. And so accountability has gone down the toilet if two people aren't saying, okay, let's fix this. I don't like that I'm saying, I don't want to have this, like, hash it out, have a conversation, work it out. But is anybody really doing that? I mean, I have not experienced it myself where I've had a fight or an argument with somebody in Facebook. I've had to let people go for, disrespect and dishonor is usually the only reason that I have to let people go. It doesn't happen often. It really doesn't. I don't know when the last time something like that's happened. But so every single soul here is here for their reason and purpose. And it's not for me to think that I know what that is. And if somebody thinks that they're whatever they think they are, and they have particular rituals or things that they do that they're drawn to, who am I to sit here and judge and say, well, why, that's ridiculous. Why you're acting like a superhero, or you think that you have more understanding. There is a such thing as advanced souls. There absolutely are advanced souls on this planet. And they're the light workers and the empaths and the starseeds that are teaching this stuff from an ancient, I don't know why I can't pronounce words, an ancient old soul space. And if you notice that the real ones, the genuine ones, are absolutely humble. They absolutely are vying for your soul's succession, your heart and soul's success, and to healing, wholeness, to thrive. So I do think largely that accountability is few and far between in a social media space. I think it's few and far between just face to face. I think a lot of people are not face to face because it's easy to, a lot of people are just not really out and about, except the younger people maybe are, but the older, maybe mid 30s and up. I mean, I'm seeing People in their mid-30s saying they don't even want to go anywhere. I mean, staying home and being on social media and scrolling through whatever it is they're doing. We need real sincere connection with each other. This is how we learn and grow. This is how, from my frame of reference, from your frame of reference, from my understanding, from your understanding, this is how we create, tribe. This is how, and it, the unity and the harmony of where, okay, take this group that met in Sedona. I mean, I'm sure all different, they have all different, maybe experiences and slants as to how they approach their inner world, their inner life. No two inner worlds and inner lives are the same. It's impossible. You're all each an individual soul. How can it possibly be the same? And I think I've done podcasts on sameness. I've talked about sameness, how it's if anything, I just lost the word. There's a word that sameness is. And it's right at the tip of my tongue. If anything, it is an epidemic. It's sameness and codependency still. And codependency and sameness shows up in a lot of different ways. And I think that everybody wants to teach, everybody wants to give counsel, everybody wants to be a therapist, everybody wants to be a coach, everybody wants to be a healer. I'm saying this loosely, that wholeness and healing guides people into wholeness and healing. Arrogance doesn't bring people into wholeness. Criticizing and making fun of and mocking people doesn't bring people into wholeness. There are things that I certainly don't understand. I have there's a lady friend who lives, she lives in another country, and there's a lot of things that she says that I don't understand. And I read her content so I can understand. And I don't understand. When I say that I don't understand, it doesn't mean I dislike it. You can simply not understand something and without disliking it and without criticizing it. And I really think that fear is at the root of this. When you don't understand something, and I think people get into a place of fear where, this just is rubbing me the wrong way. Well, what am I missing out on? So instead of, that's what I want to know. Like, I want to experience everything I can possibly experience in this human experience. I want to experience it all. I don't want to miss out on any of it. I want all of what I can get in my soul space, in my dream state, in my sleeping state, in my waking state. I want to experience every last single bit of it that makes me feel the most alive. Does criticism, mocking people make people feel more alive? Absolutely not. Does acting arrogant and acting like, okay, well now, saying that, human stupidity and people are idiots. I mean, where is this? If I ever do that, and when I have done that, and I haven't done it in a very long time, I go through personal guilt over this by myself in my own house alone. I have a conviction that, okay, don't do that. You don't want to do that. You absolutely do not want to do this. And I don't want to do this. And we all should not want to do this. And we all make mistakes. And there's a difference between mistake versus dishing out regular narcissistic behavior. And the difference between there is, and by no means am I mocking anybody, because narcissistic personality disorder is a real thing. Anybody can behave narcissistic. They can have narcissistic behavior and not be a narcissist. Narcissists, full-blown narcissists, and I've talked about this before as well, generally don't want help. They don't think they need help. They're borderline sociopathic, where they have no feelings about anything. They could care less about how you feel, how other people feel. They could care less. They just don't care. There's absolutely no care or empathy whatsoever in their bones, in their body, in their mind, anywhere. Narcissistic behavior, and it has more to do with just being vain and looking in the mirror and fixing your hair and wearing a nice coiffed beard. It has way more to do with the outward appearance. And I think a lot of times it has to do with the measure of self-loathing that's really there. And so people overcompensate with such criticism, mockery, making fun of things they do not understand, or continuing to tear down and criticize something that they left and they can't let it go because of this unhealed material and debris. Because the more clear and whole and healed you become and surrender to love and to what your soul is really wanting to produce and live here in a thriving way, in a light-bearing way, it weighs you down. It holds you back. It just holds you back and holds you, you know, and I know that there are people that think that I need to constantly do this because it's helping, or I need to constantly do this because it's going to make other people think. You can make other people think from a positive, productive space without criticizing and tearing other people down, without criticizing and tearing other beliefs down. I read something today that I haven't heard about it a lot. It's maybe the fourth or fifth time I've heard about this. And I actually know someone personally who experienced this. And it has to do with soul swapping. And that sounds pretty radical and pretty crazy to maybe some of you. This person stepped out and shared this story in a group that has like 100,000 people in it. A lot of people came on board with a lot of compassion and love, and I was happy to see that. Other people laughed. There was some laughing going on, and other people are probably saying, "Oh, this girl's out of her mind. She's crazy. This is ridiculous. I've never heard such a thing." In a group that was set up for love and light. And I don't mean like the love and light, like just love and light all the time. I mean a group that was set up for conscious love and growth and awareness. So again, everybody's in different phases and stages of awareness. And the more that we can stay away from judgment. So narcissism. So narcissistic behavior, I do believe, is driven by the unhealed, because it's working backwards. Okay. It works backwards. And so how it works backwards is you want to connect, you want attention, you want to be accepted. You really want that, but you're trying to get it through this way. You're going through criticism and judgment, and you'll get attention. I mean, people make friends all the time by everything that they hate together, they disagree with, they criticize, they judge. There are best friends in the world that are best friends because they're always judging stuff, criticizing stuff. They go out and people watch maybe, and they just criticize everybody that goes by. Besties, the besties, like ride or dies. I mean, that's not the kind of ride or die I want. People do it all the time. People connect in different ways, but from a loving space into this deeper and greater love that I'm talking about, in this universal shift that is going to keep shifting and shifting and shifting, and it's going to become more and more intense, and it's going to become more and more intense for people that aren't surrendering. Gone are the days of just sort of like, it's okay. It's not okay. And which is why I'm talking about this. Other people are talking about this. Other counterparts that I witness with and kind of interact with on a regular basis are talking about the same thing, maybe in different language, but they're talking about the same exact thing. That if you don't step it up and you consider yourself to be spiritual, you consider yourself to be a teacher and a leader, you're going to have to lay down the crap. You're going to have to lay that down. It's not healing, it's not producing, it's not working. I have to ask Carrie if you're still here. I don't know. It's a little frustrating because I used to be able to see in Podbean what was going on, and I can't see anything. I see my mouse pad. That's all I see. I don't know how to see anything else over here, and I can't. And because of this, I cannot wait to get over to Spotify, because Spotify has a live studio that is very, very similar. If is just very, very similar to Podbean. It's just not so great. So, but Carrie, are you still here? And I don't know how to get rid of this message either. But in any case, moving right along. So, an hour and 24 minutes. Let me go back over here to these notes because I cannot see. Okay, so real sincere connection, peace and unity. And here's the thing, is that when people connect, maybe not in a face-to-face, because I'm not gonna contradict what I just said, but in a social media space, when groups and alliances are formed through judgments and narcissistic behavior and manipulations and things like this, it self-destructs. It self-implodes. I've seen it happen several times. I don't participate in groups in Facebook, and I know that there's a bunch of groups out there, and that's where everybody's going, and good. And I'm glad I wasn't invited because I see what happens. I absolutely see what happens. Jealousy takes place. Um, Competition. People make a post, and it's like, here's this post. Well, this person doesn't agree, and so they go silent and dead. And instead of saying, I can understand your viewpoint, or I can respect, I respect that you posted this, and I don't quite understand it, but maybe if you explained it, I might understand better. Like, I look for the day where people can really interact like this, where people can really say, help me understand that. That's totally different. I've never heard of such a thing, but maybe you can enlighten me in the true sense. Like, maybe you can help enlighten me and understand, like, what it is. What experience did you have that led you to this? Maybe it's something I can add to my toolbox. Maybe it's something I can add to my experience. Maybe this is something that I can experience. Um, Carrie, are you there? I know I'm still live, and uh, he's still here. Thank you for answering. Only way I know this thing's running at this point. Not crazy about this. I apologize. I really, really do. So I gotta close this down. We gotta start moving. I gotta start, closing this down. So peace and unity moves through wholeness. Let's say that. Peace and unity moves through wholeness. The blind can't lead the blind. We know that, right? Whether you believe in the Bible or not, it is true. Or we both fall into a ditch. And then a lot of times it happens in these social media groups. They kind of self-implode. You can feel it. It's thick in the air. It's thick as peanut butter in the air when someone's jealous or someone doesn't like this or that or the other. I mean, to the hyper intuitives, the hyper empaths, the advanced souls, all the things that everybody's making fun of. And I really think that's why I'm not everybody. There's a few people. I scratch that. Why a few people are going after this or making fun of this. They're threatened by it. The real people that value and respect and honor what they've been given, they don't use it to criticize and judge. They don't use it for that because they know that it's going to come right back on them. We are here to help awaken, to help heal, to bring balance to the earth, to help people connect, as I say, to the truth and heart of who they are so they can thrive and have a fulfilling, satisfying life and succeed as long as you're here in this earth suit. Um, it's miserable otherwise. And I think that I mean I really didn't really finish tie up narcissistic behavior, but I think that there's self-loathing that drives this. I think that there's just a lot of wounding that drives this. And because you want to fit in, you want to belong, you want to have something to say, you want to be known for something to say, and you don't get there by criticizing and critiquing and judging and making fun of what everybody else is doing or something that you don't understand. You don't get there that way. You get there by just what I just said. And I have been repeating this throughout this episode. Come with genuine inquiry. Come with, what does this really mean? Have you really had this dream? Do you really feel like you've left your body when you go to sleep at night? Do you really feel that you're from this tribe? Do you really feel that you identify with this? And why do you identify with this? And if people begin to ask each other why, to understand, to really want to understand, I think, man, there's going to be a whole lot of healing in that. That's how peace and unity is really going to, because it's coming from that whole place. It's coming from that embodied place. I have found that when people talk about ego, 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 maybe they're the ones that need to drop the ego. Pride, arrogance, maybe they're the ones that need to drop that the most. And I always have a story. I had an experience with someone that's what they were always talking about. And ultimately that's the thing that kind of ended the connection a couple years ago with me and this person, because their pride and arrogance was coming in on a regular basis. I appreciated what they taught. I appreciated what we exchanged, but I didn't appreciate, being treated like a project or their student. I did not appreciate that. And I had a very serious conversation with this individual 3 times. I really feel like you treat me like a student, and we were just friends. I was not their student. I was not their client. They treated me like a client. They treated me like a student, and it was just like, I'm done with this. It's just like, I can't go on if you're going to continue to always try to teach me something instead of having a friendly conversation. So, peace and unity is the goal through this human experience. And, you know, it's always going to be, about, and it's not always going to be like, and I just had a thought that you didn't even hear. It's not always going to be where you're just going through this deep healing process. I mean, the deep healing stuff happens in the beginning, depending on, as I said, whatever your background is, whatever your experience was. But there are layers that we shed. There are things that we shed, and we all need to say, like, I surrender this ego, I surrender this stuff, I surrender any pride that says I don't need to do this, or that I'm done with this, or that um it's like, remain open. The more open that the more I know, the more open that I remain, the more that I decide to remain open and pliable and surrendered to. And what is frustrating, I'm not even going to share it. I'm just not even going to share it. But there are things that I do get frustrated over. I'm human. We all get frustrated. We all experience just adversity, life, the shadow stuff. And but I don't go on social media with it and start blasting out and criticize. I would never even dream about doing that. I wouldn't even think about it. So I will go inward and ask, okay, how can I process this out, and how can I smooth this out and clear this out of my energy field? What do I need to clear? What do I need to see? What needs to be removed? Or what do I need to grow in? What do I need to understand in this? We circle in pattern otherwise, with the same person with a different face, the same energy with in a different person. That's what we just do. We keep repeating the same things over and over and over again. And it is frustrating when you want, and I'm not saying this is me right now. That was a different frustration. I'm moving forward and saying it is frustrating when you want something to work with a person and they just cannot see what you're explaining. And I long for the day when we can just have really good productive conversations where we don't agree. How can we fix this? How can we come to, and not just, I agree to disagree. I'm not talking about that, because there's a lot of agree to disagree and it ends up block. I agree to block. I'm going to block, or I agree to divorce, or I agree to, where did it come? And I'm sincerely asking this right here in this moment. Where did it become that? Because I think anything can be, I don't know if I'm just naive or just a chronic, you know, terminal hopeful. I don't think there's anything that can't be worked out. If everybody just owns their shit, I don't think there's anything that can't be worked out. Why can't it be? Why can't we work this out? Why can't we just look at, like, okay, here's where I need to do, what I need to heal and what I need to see, and this is what you need to maybe heal and see, and so why can't we just do this? It's, again, so I'm going to answer the question. It all has to do with subconscious material, debris, emotional debris, the backgrounds and all this stuff. So an hour and 34 minutes. I'm going to close this in just a second. I'm going to go over here and look at my notes and see if I have missed anything. The heart of all of this is the biggest reason why I wanted to talk about all this is because I observe and I can see the sort of the manipulations taking place in the narcissistic behavior. And narcissists tend to go after, like, empaths are notorious for this energy attacking their life, because empaths live from truth, heart, soul, all day, all the time. They want truth established, they want heart, they want love, they want kindness, they want unity, they want peace, they want all of that. And narcissists know that. And they also feed off of empaths as well. And what happens is these connections and relationships are formed because narcissists come in with a real good, smart, intellectual, complimentary, kind, warm and fuzzy talk. And that's how they come across at first. And then once they hook you, it's sort of, and I'm warning all of the gifts that I mentioned, all the people, all the different, the empaths and the HSPs and the star seeds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to be careful of this because they come with all this. They come with all this, and then they hook you, and then before you know it, like they're siphoning your energy, number one, and then it's sort of like this energy, it feeds off of you, and then it hooks you. Heart is hook free, and that's the title is Triggered Terrain Heart Without Hooks. And hooks happen in a myriad of ways. Narcissism is one of them. Manipulation is another of the compliments and emojis and social media and all these different things and all the empty promises and all the things that aren't followed through. Trust and credibility is established over time, but follow through and actions speak louder than words as well. Actions above all. Someone can sound as sincere and genuine and intelligent and well-meaning all day long, but how do they follow through? Do they follow through with this? Do they keep their word? Do they show up? I've had people promise me the sun, moon, and the stars and tell me they're going to do this, that, and the other. And there was a day where I used to bawl my eyes out. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they follow through with that? Why did, and it's just people do what they do. People follow through with what they're going to do. And, I also highly recommend not being attached to anything or anyone and just weighing what people first come with loosely. Wait for actions, wait for proof, wait for follow through, wait for, because collectively humanity is going through so much as a whole, navigating, and the people that aren't awake, and I feel like have the most empathy for these people. Humanity as a whole is going through so much, and I think so much of people's subconscious material, unhealed wounds, uncleared debris is rising to the surface. They don't know what to do with it. They don't understand it. And so there's moodiness, there's irritability, people are snapping maybe more than they normally do. They have less tolerance, they have less patience, and all these different things. And so that all turns narcissistic as well. Like it's really, and so compliments and coming with talk is cheap. All the talk and all the promises and all the there's a phrase I'm looking for as I'm speaking. I'm trying to think what the phrase is. Lip service. A lot of lip service. I mean, I've had in my industry, and you would think that my industry would be the least place that this kind of stuff exists, but people are competing all day long in this industry because they want the stage and they want the book endorsement, they want this, that, and the other. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere where humans are, and that's the other thing is I used to be kind of naive in a sense that I thought that, well, this isn't going to be like this because this is positive, this is uplifting, this is motivation, this is inspiration. Yeah, not so much. Don't anywhere where there's humans. And again, the trust and credibility is established over time, and compliments and all that stuff. When follow through comes behind it, when the phone call comes, when the text comes, when the email comes, when they show up to the meeting, when the Zoom call commences, when the endorsement comes, when people follow through, is when you can really trust it. And then on the flip side is that you can be the most well-meaning and show up and follow through and show someone all day long that you're most trustworthy, but when people do not trust themselves and they have trust issues and they have their own, subconscious debris and unhealed material, you can be as pure, white as the driven snow, and they can't see you because they're looking at you through their debris. They're looking at you through their material, and they can't see that you can be trusted. One particular person stands out. There's always an example that comes to mind, but one particular, individual comes to mind, and I have been there for this person. I have answered this person's questions, and this is a social media connection. They've come and they've asked questions. This is over the course of, I think it's going on 4 years now, on and off. And they really don't trust me. And I can feel it. They don't trust me. Even though I've been there, I have supported you. I have helped you get past things. I've helped you process things, but yet for some reason, and it's not personal. It has nothing to do with me. And that's, you have to develop the thick skin in this. And so I'm going to end it with this thick skin. And I'm going to go read this over here if I can find it. I have to find this here it is. So I was starting to say earlier, I said, observing debris and material triggered or disturbed and manipulation activated, which can't be backpedaled. It comes with the territory and is something these must develop and master a thick skin, marinated in understanding and wisdom. Take all of your disappointments, take all of your unfortunate situations, take all of the things that like you just don't understand where people's behaviors are concerned. Chalk it all up to your wisdom box. Use it to develop and to master even a thicker skin as you go on. And it doesn't mean that you are defensive and I'm not talking about closing your heart down. I'm just talking about a thick skin to where you don't take it personal, where you don't take it on, you don't take any of it on. And you understand this is where they are. This is where this person is. This is what they're doing. And sometimes people's behavior will absolutely blow your mind. Just out of left field, blow your mind. You don't get it. What happened? And don't let the first question be, what did I do? Where did I go wrong? Don't let that be. If that is something that you gravitate to every time, that is indication of something that you need to clear. And it may be something of, maybe you were criticized or judged. Maybe there's like an old rejection wound, an abandonment, whatever that wound is, or something there that needs to be healed and cleared. Call me up, give me a call. I'll help you do it. I'll help you heal that stuff. Take nothing personal. You know what book is really good? I'm not going to tell you. My book's going to be really good. So I'm just going to keep that to myself. But so I know this episode was a little kind of up and down and all around. I appreciate your patience. I hope you did get something out of it. I now need to find my outro music. I am glad that you were here, Carrie. Thank you for your undying, loyal listenership. I so much appreciate it. I hope everybody who listened got something out of this. Next week, I'm going to be coming to you from probably Spotify, much smoother, live studio, sound effects, totally different, like my other episodes have been. And, so that all being said, you can find me at dawnshale.com. You can learn more there about how I coach and counsel clients. There's only so much I can serve through this podcast, but I can do way more substantially one-on-one. I'm available to guide you or someone you might know into your healing, your wholeness, your clarity, your understanding. And there's different levels that I work with people. If you're someone or looking for answers right now, let's talk. I'll love to get to know you better through a complimentary exploratory call, which means there's no charge for that 30-minute call. So that all being said, if you feel this podcast would benefit anybody send them this link to YouTube. This is the only place that it's going. This will also be mapped to dawnshale.com. There is no Spotify for this episode, Amazon Music, or iHeartRadio for this episode. So that all being said, thank you, everybody, for listening. I will be back. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I will be back next Tuesday, most likely from Spotify. as I said, and you'll have to tune in to find out. I'm looking forward to it and to continuing on with my weekly podcasts. Thank you for your grace and not criticizing me here as to how, a little bit fragmented this was. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate your patience. It is always my heart to bring you good content and, insight and understanding with all of this. So, I wish you a great rest of your week, a good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you might be listening. And much love, much bliss, light, and love always from my heart to yours. And I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.